Well, Donald Trump is back in the White House, so what impact will this presidency have on Australia? Joining me live to break it all down for us is RMIT University Research Fellow Economist Dr Nataliya Ilyushina. Welcome, great to see you. Donald Trump 2.0, what's standing out to you so far?
Oh, well, there is a lot of economic announcements. The most significant one is obviously for America is the migration announcement. Not only the rhetoric and the language changed, and with Donald Trump referring to what used to be called undocumented migrants, he called them invaders in his speech. So it's a drastic change in that. He removed the birthright when a woman just passing by through the United States giving birth, this child could become a citizen, but also a lot of announcements on energy, which is, involving the drill baby drill, which could give a good example for us here as where to go on from that.
Okay, well, let's talk about that then. There's lots to unpack. I mean, he was straight to work signing his executive orders on so many different things and key issues. But let's talk about energy and the potential impact that could have on Australia. I mean, Donald Trump, of course, we know is very critical of renewables and that sort of energy plan. What kind of impact could that now have on Albanese and his government's approach here, especially in an election year?
Of course, it's going to have a huge impact on the whole rhetoric and how people perceive this whole energy policy, because we see an example of a huge country or a global leader ditching the Paris Agreement. That's a huge impact on the optics of that whole renewable energy policy. But also when Trump said drill baby drill, he referred to focusing on mining, focusing on resources at hand, which is very similar to what we have in Australia. Our own mining resources is our comparative advantage globally. And not to criticize moving to net zero overall, but why do we shoot ourselves in the foot when there is something right there available to us? And that's the message Trump sent. He clearly said he doesn't care what others think about him, what the global perception, what Europe is going to think about his moves. He wants the most productivity and the most efficient outcome for his country and for his people. And of course, that's going to send a message downward spiraling over here.
Well, of course, we saw Penny Wong speaking today as she met with Marco Rubio, and she seemed confident in the alliance moving forward in regards to lots of different fronts. But what sort of economic impact will a Trump presidency have on Australia? What are you concerned about, or what do you foresee being the challenges for Australia moving forward?
Well, so far, I don't see an obvious challenge apart from the potential for tariffs, which there is no sign that the tariffs could be imposed on Australia. Tariffs themselves economically are very expensive entertainment for the country that imposes them, right? And it's going to hit both sides, the United States and the country that they're imposing tariffs on. So they stand from economically from only in one situation when you want to protect a particular industry. Given Trump's rhetoric, he's not into protecting particular emerging industry in his country. Rather, he just wants to send a political message, and that goes to Mexico and Canada. Mind you, we don't have much trade with Mexico and Canada, so there is no direct pathway for us to be impacted by tariffs. If Trump goes down the track imposing tariffs on China, who is our major trading partner, and we have about 30% of our trade with China, then it's a completely different story. But Trump imposing direct tariffs directly on us is highly unlikely.
We all also know if China is struggling, we inevitably are going to be struggling as well. So there's a bit of a fear here.
Quite unfortunate, right? And I do think in that regard, the fact that Trump sends a message that he's not quite aligned with China right now, it's also could be a little bit of a signal for us to be concerned, and maybe a call to diversify our trade. Not to say there's anything wrong to trade with any particular country, but it's always better to not put our eggs in one basket.
I mean, everyone is watching every single word Trump says, and my goodness, he speaks for a long time, but everyone's watching. I mean, the markets are responding and getting a little bit spooked by his every word at the moment because he is unpredictable, and we know that, and he's coming in quite strong. And there's a bit of a different energy, a bit of a different feel to this Trump presidency, I have to say, and a lot of people are echoing a similar sentiment at the moment. He has come out strong, though, and we knew this on strengthening the borders. What's your thought on immigration?
Look, I do think that was a long overdue policy, because the immigration policy and immigration situation with specifically illegal, also called undocumented migrants, which the word I don't quite like because it sends a message that it's okay, it's acceptable. Illegal migrant broke the migration law. That's why they're illegal. And mind you, there is over 11 million of them in the United States. And how do I know that? I went and checked the census statistics. So as an economist, I'm asking myself, how do they know that? And it's done by a survey. So this is the level of how socially acceptable it is to be an illegal migrant in the United States, that an official government agency, the Census Bureau, can come to you and ask, are you a legal migrant? And you can say yes, feeling fine about that. And mind you, about 15% of those illegal migrants in the United States arrived as far back as the 80s. So they spent equivalent of mine or yours lifetime in the United States being illegal. And that's the problem from that is it's also bad for them, those illegal migrants residing there, because they're deprived of medical care. They're not entitled to Medicare, Medicaid, or even restricted in purchasing private health insurance. And obviously, local businesses could take advantage of that. They pay lower salary because being a legal migrant, you're still restricted with your choices of employer. And also, they don't have to salary package you with the private health insurance, which is quite a common thing in the United States. So it's long overdue call. And don't get me wrong, migration is good for the country. It provides necessary labor force where it's needed, but only when managed properly. So these people could be taking other skilled workers' places. And actually, in today's talk Trump had on the AI, he mentioned H-1B visa, which is a pathway for skilled, educated people to enter United States and contribute to the economy. And that conversation was in the scope about the AI.
Yeah, there's so much to break down, isn't it? And you're doing an incredible job of summarising that for us, because some of us, when we're listening, we're thinking what's really going on. But for you to break down what that actually means from an economic point of view.
It's a very different migration system than we do have. So it's very foreign to an average person.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in as always. It's always great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
We'll leave it there. Thanks.